Hello there folks, and welcome to a brand new playthrough video. My name is The Lone Adventurer. Thank you very much for stumbling your way upon my channel. Now today I'm going to be covering a game called Loom, and this is a game that is currently at time of recording on Kickstarter. It's a solo print and play game that's a little bit different to anything else I have played before, so I thought I would introduce it to you folks to see if maybe it was a game you were interested in too. Now I haven't printed out everything that I need for this game. I've printed out a couple of key elements. So I've got a few printed sheets over here. I've got my play sheet here, which I've cut in half so that I can separate this map section out and put that over there out of the way. But everything else I've got on the screen. So what I'm hoping to do is to switch backwards and forwards between the screen and my table, and that way you can get a good sense of what is going on here. So I'm going to switch over to the screen to show you the Kickstarter page very briefly. So here we've got it, Loom, Portent of the Veil, solo adventuring across an arcane land. So it's a print and play game, and it also will eventually come with a system neutral setting for fantasy tabletop role-playing games as well, that you can use in other games and other systems. So it is a game from a company called Shield Dice Games, which are based in the UK. I think the mastermind behind this, Jay, is a graphic designer, and that definitely comes across in all of the resources that come with the game. Scrolling down very quickly. So Loom is a print and play fantasy adventure game. You use a map and a character sheet along with a bunch of procedurally generated paragraphs to explore a strange and dark and mysterious world. So it's a little bit like a choose your own adventure book, except it's more randomized than that, and I think likely more replayable than an adventure book as well, and plays quicker, I would imagine. So all you need is playing cards, dice and a pencil, and then everything is generated as you go. Okay, let's come back to the table for a moment. I'll try and give a brief introduction as to how this works, although frankly probably the best way to show how it works is just to run through a few rounds of the game, because it is very straightforward. There's quite a lot going on, but it's all very well signposted and easy to follow. You essentially generate a character. This is my character Wesley the Craven. I'll show you the character generation process in a minute. And the aim is to make your way from the southern monastery here. It'll be at the south if the page was turned that way, so south, north. Make your way from the southern monastery all the way up to the northern monastery and have various adventures along the way. And as you're going, you'll be completing a number of quests, including assisting NPCs, searching buildings, vanishing foes, finding shrines, and then visiting torch gates and finding music sheets. I haven't found a music sheet yet. I'm not really sure what that's all about. And then when you get to the end, there'll be some pages that explain the type of ending that you have achieved based upon how successful you were during your adventure. Down here we're tracking some health and armour, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and you've got an inventory, so you can have up to 6 items, and I've just got a page over here where I can list a few notes about each item to remind me what exactly they do. So you're going around the map, going to these different locations. At each location you generate a paragraph, a scene for that location. You have to take a couple of actions within that scene before you can move on to the next scene, and that is very basically it. I mean, there's more complexity to it than that. So let's start by having a look at the character creation process. So the material that is required to play Loom is split into various different PDFs. There is one version where everything is in one document, but I'm using the separate PDF, so I found that to be a little bit easier to navigate. So this PDF here is called Beginnings, and this is the PDF that introduces you to the world in which Loom takes place, and also allows you to generate the different character traits and quirks that will serve to make your gaming experience particularly unique. So we might read through this quickly, and then you'll see how the character creation is sort of integrated into the narrative here. The Vale of the Quintet Monasteries is a holy site, thought to be the birthplace of the son of the cosmic demiurge Oseus Vir, who created the dimensions of sleep. The Quintet monasteries were built atop the ridges of the Vale in honour of this nameless smith, a son who is said to repeatedly reshape the realm of nightmares with a hammer forged from moonlight. The Vale mutters to the world, its winds yawn quiet words of hope, and its forests birth zealots and saints alike. You are the craven, a dishonoured knight forced into monastic servitude. Your days of desertion are over. The flames of a terrifying war long extinguished. The pagan hordes were vanquished by the armies of the basin, but scattered legions still linger in the fog-strewn recesses of the Vale, drawn to its old secrets. You shall cleanse these lands with sword and spirit, having been retrained in the arts of the holy trail guard. A craven's quest is one of pilgrimage between the monasteries of the Vale, keeping an ever watchful eye on the horizon and defending those areas darkened by the nocturne, a magical night song of pagan witches. Rumours of a rift have arisen, and those of the hamlets of the Vale now take shelter beneath the crested roof of your monastery. Only a journey across the Vale can determine if these rumours are nothing more than maddened mutterings, or if indeed the melody of the nocturnes pours forth abominations. Go, craven, go find the signs of ruin. Onward unto the night, and seek the looming portents. Alright, so you can see immediately that this is a game where care has been taken to produce a quality narrative, an interesting world, and well-written prose. So that's quite nice, especially given how, as you'll see, how focused on it being a story, and a story that you're largely provided with. This isn't one of those solo games where you're expected to generate narrative yourself. This one, the narrative is largely generated for you. So it's nice that it's this well written. Okay, so let's see. Begin. You stand before a chained receptacle. It contains the tools of your trade. So this is choosing a weapon, and we have 3 weapons to choose from. Now I chose Bitter Knell, which is a blunt weapon for my character. So we'll just read through that one on this occasion. It is an iron bell on a thick rope. This makeshift flail is made from a former bell of the monastery's tower. It is said that every time the bell rings when striking a pagan dead, a saint shall be birthed. A fitting weapon for the strongest of the trail guard. And it says you can design your own weapon if you want. I didn't do that. So we open the monastery doors. You place your palms on the towering oak planks, and with your full weight heave the doors outward. A gust of fresh air washes over you, causing you to shiver, and then it subsides. All is still. The gardens of the monastery grounds are long void of flowers and visitors. You breathe deep and whisper a prayer to your chosen demiurge. Choose a demiurge. So I had to look up demiurge. I didn't know what that meant. A demiurge is a being that is considered to have created the universe. So we've got 3 demiurges to choose from. I chose the third option, she, the Vigil, Watcher of the Worlds. Then we open our pack. You open the small satchel that hangs at your side and take from it the mask of your holy order, the Iron Veil. The Iron Veil of the Trail Guard is said to inspire courage, though you have yet to feel its power. You strap it to your face, your breath warm and now louder to your ears. As you close your satchel, you notice another item within. The item reminds you of your old life before your toil of penance, and a life before the war that gave rise to your shameful title of the Craven. And so we have to choose a profession, and each profession provides an item. Now I chose the last option here. Before the draft for the war, you were nothing more than a town drunk. And so the item that I got was strong ale. And we'll talk a little bit about the benefit of the ale a little bit later, after we have addressed some of the stats that you have to keep track of that I haven't mentioned yet. So we've got a weapon, we've got a demiurge, we've got a profession and an item along with it. So we exit the monastery. You step out into the grounds of the monastery. The doors close behind you with a shudder. The monks within, shadowed beneath their robes, shuffle to the windows in order to watch you leave. As you pass through the gardens, you notice your horse. It lies rotting beside the stables. Whether it died of the wound caused by a pagan's arrow buried in its flank, the cold, disease, or all combined, you do not know. The frozen ground is much too hard to bury it. From this distance you can just make out your perished family's sigil. It is stitched into the flag you used to cover the mare. Alright, so then we have to design our own sigil and decide what it represents. So I decided my sigil represented fear, and I drew a sigil which is on my character sheet, which we'll switch back to in a moment. Leave the safety of the grounds. The air is even colder beyond the walls of the monastery grounds, scant baubles of snow drifting here and there. You hear the deep voices of the monks singing at your back, resonating outward into the valley, as if foretelling your fate. Do they sing in prayer for your safety, or their own? Your boots crunch the frozen ground as you step into the sallow dawn. Several silhouettes of pagan corpses swinging from an old oak nearby. The sweet rot of them reaches your nose. Your weapon and your burden feel heavier now. You pull your cloak much tighter. Distant peaks rise into the starry cosmos, the sun a pale and withered thing beyond. Every so often the mists part and reveal swathes of jagged timberline, the black boughs like doorways to the realm of the dead. You are sure you can hear the mystical piano keys of the pagan's nocturne, calling to you, drifting on the icy breeze, daring you to enter the veil. Walk on, draw a card, and that is where the game proper begins, and you start generating paragraphs to represent that journey. So just a couple of other things to cover if we are looking at the character sheet here. So I'll just bring this back over. Maybe I haven't quite thought this through. I might copy these numbers onto my blank sheet underneath. But there's 3 other statistics you need to track. The first we've got here is the challenge modifier. So we've got a list of commands that we can use in the different scenes that we go into, and these are very sort of reminiscent of old PC games, text adventures, where you would have to type commands into a command prompt, and if you typed the right thing, then you would activate some effect in the game. So you might type in search building. So if you are in a scene with a building, you can search the building. If you are in a scene with a foe, you can attack that foe, or you could evade or flee, or you could hide and observe to see what the foe, or I guess the NPC is doing. I'm not sure. I think maybe you can you do that with an NPC as well? Not entirely sure. You can assist an NPC. You can, and then there's certain things you can always do. Oh, and if you're at a shrine, if you find a shrine, you can pray at a shrine. You can always forage, however. You can always search for tracks. And then you can flee an area, so you can ignore everything that's going on. Or you can roll the bones. That's if you've got some animal bones, you can roll those bones to communicate with your chosen demiurge. If you're starting to get close to death, or you're worried about that you might not be able to make it through, you can flee an area if you think it's too risky. But if you flee an area, this is one of the ways you can incur craven points. And craven points essentially track how much of a coward you are. And when you get to the end, which I haven't done yet, but when you get to the end, my understanding is that the greater your craven points, the less good the ending you experience will be. So you want to keep your craven points down, but obviously if you die, then that's bad as well. So we've got the challenge modifier, we've got craven points, and then we've got poison and plague points. So I guess you can incur poison and plague effects as you go through the game. I haven't yet, and if you do, that's bad, and you track that there. So I think that covers quite a bit of the game. There's still some mechanics that I haven't really gone through yet, but I think I'll hold off on those until we start playing through a couple of rounds of the game, and we'll do that in another video. So thank you very much for watching. There will be a link to the next video appearing very soon, and there'll be a link to the next video in the description below if you want to carry on and watch a little bit of gameplay of Loom, Portent of the Veil. I've been the Lone Adventurer. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.